Queen Sophia's tragic life and departure leave the royal family deeply worried. Madrid, once hailed as the graceful and unshakable pillar of the Spanish monarchy, Queen Sophia's departure from the public stage has left an aching void in the royal household, and whispers of concern echo through the gilded corridors of the Zarzuela Palace. For decades, Queen Sophia stood at the heart of the monarchy's image, dignified, poised, and seemingly untouchable by scandal. Yet behind the ceremonial smiles and the flawless public appearances, those close to her speak of a woman who bore the weight of unspoken sorrows. Sources claim that years of quiet sacrifice, family rifts, and the strain of enduring public scrutiny have taken a toll that few outsiders could imagine. Her withdrawal from active duties earlier this year came abruptly. While the official statement cited a well-deserved rest after decades of service, palace insiders reveal a far more troubling narrative. It wasn't just about age or fatigue, one confidant confided. There were wounds that never healed, and recent events reopened them. The Queen's life, they say, was shadowed by a series of personal trials. A complicated marriage to former King Juan Carlos, whose own controversies tested her patience and dignity, strained relationships with certain members of the royal family, and the constant balancing act of protecting the monarchy's image while enduring private heartbreak. Those who saw her in her final weeks of public life noticed a change, a faint weariness in her eyes, a hesitance in her once assured step. Her absence from key family events, once unthinkable, began to feel like a silent protest. Now, her departure has sparked concern among those who fear it may mark not just the end of her reign as the monarchy's moral anchor, but the beginning of a period of instability for the royal family. With Queen Letizia taking on greater prominence and King Felipe navigating political tensions, the loss of Sophia's quiet authority is being felt more than ever. Her presence was like a compass, one court aide remarked. Even when the seas were rough, she kept everyone pointed in the right direction. Without her, we're adrift. As speculation grows, one question haunts the palace. Is Queen Sophia gone for good, retreating into a life of seclusion? Or is this only a temporary absence before a dramatic return? For now, the once glittering figure of Spain's Queen Mother is hidden from public view, leaving behind an air of mystery, a trail of unanswered questions, and a royal family that seems just a little more vulnerable without her steady hand. According to palace insiders, Queen Sophia's decision to step away was not entirely her own. Tensions had reportedly been simmering for years between her and Queen Letizia, whose modern approach to royal duties sometimes clashed with Sophia's traditional views. While both women maintained a polished public front, behind closed doors their conversations could turn icy. One former courtier described moments of strained silence during private family gatherings, when Sophia's subtle disapproval would meet Letizia's steely composure. They were two very different queens, the insider said. Sophia believed in duty above all else. Letizia believes in control above all else. The strain worsened when whispers about King Juan Carlos's alleged indiscretions resurfaced, threatening to reignite old scandals. Sophia, who had spent decades shielding the family from such storms, was said to have felt abandoned when her counsel was no longer sought. She was used to being the one people came to when things went wrong, said a longtime friend. Now she was being sidelined. In the weeks before her departure, Sophia was rarely seen in the private apartments she once considered her refuge. Staff reported she spent long hours walking alone in the palace gardens, pausing to gaze toward the horizon as if searching for an escape. Her final night in Zarzuela was, according to one confidant, both heartbreaking and symbolic. After a quiet dinner with only a few trusted aides, she walked through the long corridors, stopping at the portraits of past monarchs. She touched each frame, the source revealed, as if saying goodbye to the history she had carried on her shoulders. By dawn, she had left for an undisclosed location, leaving only a handwritten note for King Felipe. Take care of them, and take care of yourself. The crown must remain, even if I cannot. Since then, the royal household has been gripped by unease. Felipe has reportedly reached out to his mother multiple times, urging her to return, but the Queen Mother's replies have been brief, polite, and distant. Letizia, for her part, is said to have expressed respect for Sophia's personal choice, though some close to the family interpret this as quiet relief. For the Spanish people, Sophia's absence feels like a missing piece of their national identity. For the royal family, it may be the beginning of a power shift, one that could alter the balance within the palace for years to come. Rumors about Queen Sophia's whereabouts have been circulating for weeks, with speculation ranging from a quiet villa in Majorca to a secluded monastery in northern Greece. The palace has refused to confirm any location, fueling the public's fascination and the media's relentless pursuit of the truth. One unverified report claims she is staying in a centuries-old estate owned by a distant relative, where the air smells of wild rosemary and the sea can be heard from every window. Locals in the area insist they have seen a tall, elegant woman with silver hair, walking along the shore at sunrise, accompanied only by a small dog and a single bodyguard. But the question that grips the nation is not just where she is, but why she left. According to a source with close ties to the royal circle, a heated confrontation may have been the tipping point. The source alleges that during a private dinner, Sophia voiced her disapproval over certain decisions King Felipe and Queen Letizia had made regarding royal finances and public appearances. The exchange reportedly ended with Letizia saying sharply, "This is our time now. You had yours." For Sophia, who had given her life to preserving the monarchy's dignity, such words were said to have cut deep. That night, she confided in a trusted aide, "If they no longer need my guidance, perhaps I should not be here at all." Adding another layer to the mystery are claims that Sophia has been in quiet contact with influential figures abroad, possibly seeking to create a foundation independent from the Spanish crown. The aim, some say, would be to focus on humanitarian causes without the constraints and politics of palace life. Still, those closest to her worry that isolation may deepen the melancholy she has carried for years. "She has always been surrounded by people, yet she has always been alone," said one friend. "Now, without the duties that kept her anchored, I fear she might drift away completely." For the royal family, the stakes are high. Her absence is not just an emotional blow, it risks weakening the symbolic unity the monarchy relies upon. Every day she remains away, the whispers grow louder, that the crown's most trusted heart has quietly walked away, and may never return. It happened on a cool autumn evening in Madrid, when the city's streets were lit with golden lamps and the air smelled faintly of chestnuts roasting on street corners. The royal family was attending a high-profile charity gala at the Teatro Real, a night meant to project unity and glamour after weeks of swirling rumors. King Felipe and Queen Letizia arrived together, their smiles carefully measured for the cameras. No one expected what happened next. Halfway through the evening, as the orchestra played the first notes of a Spanish waltz, the doors at the back of the grand hall opened slowly. Conversations faltered, and all eyes turned. There she was, Queen Sophia, wearing a deep emerald gown, her posture as regal as ever, her silver hair catching the light. The hush in the room was palpable, broken only by the soft rustle of her dress as she walked forward. Reporters scrambled to capture the moment, their camera flashes painting the marble walls in bursts of white. Gasps rippled through the audience, and even Philippe's expression faltered between shock and relief. Letizia, however, remained composed, her eyes fixed on Sophia with an unreadable gaze. Sophia approached the royal table, offering a polite nod to her son before turning to address the crowd. "I have been away," she began, her voice clear and steady, "not because I have stopped caring, but because I needed to remember who I am beyond the crown." She spoke briefly but powerfully about unity, respect, and the duty of the monarchy to serve the people above all else. Her words, though wrapped in diplomacy, carried an unmistakable undertone, a reminder to those within the palace that tradition and wisdom cannot simply be dismissed.